and good evening to all. Welcome to the daily UPSC Prelims MCQ quiz video. Let us solve the following 5 questions to learn and revise the topics which are relevant and important for our UPSC exam. So question number 1 on the screen. With reference to the navigation systems, consider the following pairs. Left hand side we have the system names. On the right hand side we have the country of origin. Baidu is matched to China. GLONASS matched to United States. Galileo matched to European Union. IRNSS matched to Japan. How many of the pairs given above are correctly matched? Let us analyze all the options one by one. So Baidu is matched to China. This is correct. Second option, GLONASS is matched to US. US is having a navigation system called GPS and GLONASS is provided by Russia. Third option is Galileo, which is given by or provided by European Union. This is also correct. Fourth option, IRNSS is a regional navigation system by India. And Japan provides a regional navigation system called QZSS, Quasi-Zenith Satellite System. So here we can see that option number 1 and 3 are correct. Hence option number B is the right answer. Also again, IRNSS, that is India's navigation system, and Japan's navigation systems are the two systems which provide regional coverage, and the remaining 4, that is Baidu, GLONASS, Galileo and GPS, they provide the global coverage. Let's go to the next question. Question number 2 regarding the Sufis, the saint Srimanta Shankaradeva. Number 1, he emerged as the leading proponent of Vaishnavism in Assam during the late 15th century. Number 2, his teachings are referred to as Bhagwati Dharma, rejecting caste discrimination. Number 3, he promoted the establishment of satras and namgras or religious and cultural activities. So let us learn about Srimanta Shankaradeva. He was a saint, scholar, poet and social reformer in Assam during the 15th century, and he was indeed a proponent of Vaishnavism in that duration. So option number 1 is the correct answer. There he founded the unique form of Vaishnavism called Ekasaranama Dharma, which means devotion to Vishnu alone, the Lord Vishnu, without the rituals and idol worship. In this, he also taught about Bhagwati Dharma, which rejected about caste discrimination. In Bhagwati Dharma, we actually do the devotion through hymns, dances and dramas. Number 3, he promoted the establishment of satras, which means the monasteries, and the namgraha, these were the prayer halls or prayer rooms for the religious and cultural activities in that region. So here we can see all the 3 options are correct, hence option number B is the right answer. Let's go to the third question. Question number 3 regarding TB. Tuberculosis, India's efforts to combat tuberculosis. Number 1, National Tuberculosis Elimination Program aims to eliminate TB by 2025. Number 2, under Nikshay Poshan Yojana, TB patients receive Rs 500 per month via direct benefit transfer for nutritional support during treatment. Number 3, states like Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra and Bihar report the highest TB cases, while Delhi has the highest infection prevalence. Number 4, the National Strategic Plan targets reducing TB incidence by 80% and mortality by 90% by 2030 compared to 2010 levels. Which of the following given above is or are correct statement? Let's analyze the statements. So number 1, under India's National Tuberculosis Elimination Program, yes, we have the target to eliminate TB by 2025, and this is 5 years ahead of the SDGs, that is having the target of 2030. Second option, under Nikshay Poshan Yojana, TB patients receive 500 per month. Earlier this was the case. Now it has been revised to Rs 1000 for the nutritional support to these patients during the treatment course. Number 3, states like Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra and Bihar report the highest TB cases and Delhi has the highest infection prevalence. This is correct. This is according to the WHO Global TB Report 2025. And according to that report also, India is having the highest TB burden, which is around 25%. So WHO's Global TB report says India is having close to 25% of total global burden, TB burden. Number 4, National Strategic Plan targets reducing TB incidence by 80% and mortality by 90% compared to 2030. No, it is compared to by 2030 compared to 2015 level. I repeat this. The strategic plan of TB will reduce the incidence is trying to reduce the incidence by 80% and mortality by 90%. This part is correct, but by 2025 according to the elimination plan and compared to the level of 2015. Hence, we can see option number 1 and 3 are the right answer. Hence, option number B is the right answer for question number 4. Let's go for the question number 4, which is regarding the 8th schedule of the Indian Constitution. Option number 1, the originally this schedule listed 14 languages, later expanded to 22 through constitutional amendments. Languages added in 1994 includes Konkani, Manipuri and Nepali. The 2003 amendment added Bodo, Dongri, Maithili, Santhali to the list. English is one of the 22 scheduled languages. Let us analyze the options. Yes, originally Indian Constitution had 14 languages and later it was expanded to 22 through the various constitutional amendments. In the year 1992, we added 3 languages, Konkani, Manipuri and Nepali through the 71st Constitutional Amendment Act. Then in 2003, we added 4 more languages which were Bodo, Dongri, Maithili and Santhali to the list. And the fourth option, English, is not in one of the languages or it is not listed in the scheduled languages of 8th schedule. So here we can see option number 1 and 3 as the right answer. Hence, option number A is the right answer for this question. Also, this 8th schedule had been amended 4 times in total. First, in the year 1967, that was the 21st Constitutional Amendment Act, where we added Sindhi language. Then in the year 1992, through the Constitutional Amendment Act of 71st, where we added the 3 languages, Konkani, Manipuri and Nepali. Then we had the Constitutional Amendment Act of 2003, the 92nd Constitutional Amendment Act, where we added the remaining 4 languages. And lastly, in the year 2011, we had the 96th Constitutional Amendment Act, where we renamed the language Odia to Odia. So earlier it was called Odia and we renamed it to Odia in the 96th Constitutional Amendment Act. That's it. Let's go for the last question, which is regarding GDP of India. Number 1, GDP of India is calculated using both production method and expenditure method. Number 2, services sector contributes the largest share of India's GDP, followed by industry and then agriculture. Number 3, real GDP is adjusted for inflation, while nominal GDP is measured at current market prices. Number 4, GDP includes the total value of all goods and services produced within a country, including the intermediate goods. Let's analyze all the options. India's GDP is calculated using the 2 methods, that is production and expenditure method. This is correct. We learned about 3 methods, that is income, expenditure and production. So in India's case, we use only expenditure and production method for calculating the GDP. Next, service sector contributes largest share for India's GDP, followed by industry and agriculture. This is correct. Service sector contributes for around 54%. Then for industry, we have around 27%, and for agriculture, it is around 17%. The real GDP is adjusted for inflation. Nominal GDP is measured at current market prices. Yes, nominal GDP is having the effect of inflation and it is good for identifying the short-term growth, while the real GDP is adjusted for inflation and we can get a perspective of our long-term growth of the GDP using the real GDP numbers. Number 4, the GDP includes the total value of all goods and services produced in a country, including intermediate goods. No, we do not include the intermediate goods because to avoid the double counting in the GDP calculation. So here we can see option number 1, 2 and 3 are correct. Hence option number A is the right answer. And that's it for today. We have solved the 5 questions. Please revise the concept. If you learned something today,